Sir, in your opinion, why this government is also not serious about tackling this issue? If the issue, the remedy is so simple.
Well, you don't judge a marriage by the first year. I think you're right. There was a lot of expectation we'll move very fast. But all kinds of silly logic came in the way. For instance, one logic was that we have to run the Rajya Sabha to get many legislations passed. So if if we get tough in the very first day, it may create problems for our running the government. I didn't accept this argument, but now that argument is gone, because even without our putting them in jail and getting the black money back, there's a complete blockage of the parliamentary proceedings. The second thing is that there is a essential problem that black money abroad in foreign bank accounts is not a party-specific problem. It cuts across many parties. And it would be, the question therefore for a good government would be to see how to sequence it so that it doesn't create a great deal of unrest. But I will say one thing to seek to satisfy you, that within the next 2 years, one way or the other, this problem would be solved, because the basic advantage of the BJP is that it's not a one woman or one man or one family party. And there are lots of countervailing forces in the party and those who are associated with the party. And therefore, I'm pretty confident that we will solve this problem. We have to solve this problem, and we will solve this problem. So just give us a little more time.
Which was really fantastic. And sir, thank you for a fantastic lecture today. My question is, sir, what do you think is the lifespan of the participatory notes in the present scenario?
Participatory notes will have to go. And I think after this parliament session, we'll take a call. If you ask me what's the outer limit for participatory note to be or the law so amended that it becomes like any other note, and not the special note it is today. For instance, if you require that you have to disclose who the owners are, I think participatory notes themselves will disappear. A year from today, if I come back here, I'll be happy to say that I was vindicated, that participatory notes have indeed disappeared.
Sir, we want to remove black money and remove income tax. There is a solution. Remove Income Tax Act. Levy only 2% for corporate. No other persons who pay tax. Capital plus reserve, 2%. If you calculate, government will get more money and all black money and under the table will go. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, there is a proposal like that. There are other proposals. There's one proposal which says put a tax of 0.5% on all bank transactions and remove all taxes. Well, I would like to proceed from a different angle. I think if it was left to me, I would say immediately abolish income tax, because that's easy to do. Then of the 2,700 odd commodities subject to excise tax, rank them by their contribution to the excise tax revenue, and you will find that probably the first 22 will give you 90% of the excise tax revenue. So remove it from the rest, and on the condition that they will pass it on to the consumer. So that process, I like it to go. And I don't see why we should not be very liberal for any corporation which builds schools, medical dispensaries, insurance for its employees, busing them from their places of work, and so on, which some of which is already subject to tax exemptions, but basically a broad any amount, and particularly to the corporates, to say that if you build a university, we will exempt you totally from all corporate taxes. That kind of way we should stagger this movement towards a near zero tax regime.
So don't you think so by banning this commodity exchange market we can curb the inflation? What is the
Yeah, I think right now there are big scandals going on your commodity exchange market. No, I think it has to be done very intelligently. I think certainly we require that, but the question is how to do it. There is a legacy which we have to overcome, and I think first let's develop agriculture to the point where they become exporters, because our agricultural products are the cheapest in the world. And you take the price of wheat, rice, vegetables, milk, and we can produce all this in abundance. They are, compared to Europe and American prices or Japanese prices, much, much lower. So we should make our agriculture sector as an exporting sector. And then for internal markets, these commodity markets could be considered. But right now, we are in a royal mess as far as what is happening in commodities trading in our country. I think we'll have to start by abolishing it and then trying some new method.
Sir, 98% taxes are coming voluntarily by the taxpayers.
Yes.
In form of a TDS or advance tax, etc.
Yes.
Why just for collecting a 2% of the taxes, white elephants are there? And a team of these, so many officers are there. And the person who is paying the taxes are thought that they are the cheaters. And person who is collecting the taxes, they are got rewarded. So
Yeah.
why not such type of these things will not be removed?
Well, then I will lose control over you, no? Only if I can send an income tax officer to your house to threaten you. My power is safe, no? So you are asking me to give up my own power.
No, sir, but since the...
No, I was joking. Actually, this argument has been given to me that we need income tax officers to keep income tax system to keep some people in check. You see, I think this is a very primitive way of doing things. I agree with you that I don't want even those 98% to pay. I want, I don't want, but they say, what will the poor income tax officers do? I said, we need to dig a lot of ditches in our country, and we need manpower for that. Let them do it, or... yeah, because for canals, you see, we need a whole set of canals connecting all our rivers. And so that's not an argument. These are educated people, these income tax people, you can always find them an alternative occupation. But at present, it's a nasty bunch, which I think is because of the nature of that work. And we need to get rid of it and make people more secure. They must feel more secure, you see. Today, people shiver at getting an income tax notice, you see. And therefore, I think that culture must go. We must have people who are fearless, and we must have a system which supports fearless people.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I often seen you quoted a 1992 Supreme Court judgment in the case of Bhajan Lal.
Bhajan Lal, yeah.
Where you often say that before the court,
Yes.
it's not the source of evidence which matters. The evidence is there, the court will work on it.
Yeah.
So all these two accounts which you mentioned before the SIT of Rahul
Yeah.
Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi,
Yeah.
so why don't you go before the Supreme Court and get the thing done?
I've already done it. It's there, it's pending before but the judges also, anything which is likely to cause turbulence, they're a little cautious. But we are heading in that direction. I already filed, there's that black money SIT in the Supreme Court, which is probably meeting now, I think on August 11th or so, where I have filed an affidavit for the court to direct the SIT to investigate these two accounts. And in the case of Rahul Gandhi, it's very easy because he was once caught with $1,60,000 in cash in Boston, and he tried to explain that he had drawn it from his own account in Pictet Bank, and it's recorded by the FBI. And but the FBI said, well, we are going to prosecute you, not for whether you drew the money from this bank or that bank, but for the fact that the American law says you can't bring more than $10,000 without declaration. Up to $10,000 you can bring without declaration. And the punishment is 8 years for every $10,000 you didn't declare. And that means 144 years. But then Mr. Vajpayee's heart bled, and he intervened with George Bush and got him sent back home. But that case is still there. I can one of these days get it activated.
Sir, one minute.
So the NPA menace is going up of the banks.
Yes.
And many accounts have gone bad.
Yes.
Many monies have swindled abroad.
Yes.
And government has recapitalized or planning to recapitalize the banks in next 3 years.
Yes.
Is this the government again supporting the same old thing?
I agree. That's been a part of our cartel system, the Banana Republic system, where the banks were bled. I had, in fact, have a PIL, famous PIL, Subramaniam Swamy versus CBI, which is reported in the Supreme Court Digest, or it's called Supreme Court Cases Digest, where the Indian bank, all that you had to do to get a loan issued is either Mr. Moopanar of the Tamil Mani Congress or Chidambaram write on a blank piece of paper that this man should be given the loan. And the bank chairman, one Mr. forget his name now, Balakrishnan or Gopalakrishnan, yes. He went to jail. He had to go to jail because of my case. He would immediately give it. He may have been a good-natured man saying that, after all, collective money, and so what is the harm in handing it over? And we caught them, and then finally some major changes took place. The Indian bank had subsequently improved quite a lot, but now the general economic situation is such that NPAs have started rising again. It's a matter of great concern.
And how do we see Dr. Subramaniam Swamy next 4 years?
That you see in Sanskrit there's a word called prarabdha. You know what prarabdha means? Destiny. I don't know. I thought I'll be a professor all my life. I never thought I'll be elected 5 times to parliament without spending 1 rupee. I never spent 1 rupee in my election campaign.
One question is for me also. What was the real breakthrough in 2G scam? What was the real breakthrough in 2G scam? And how you book Raja into it?
Well, you see, Raja was the telecom minister, so it was easy to book him. Actually, the real culprit is Chidambaram, but he is, a lawyer and a pro. And therefore, he has got away. But now he's very close to being charge-sheeted on a case I won't mention today. It's my case also. Very close. I hope it can be done before 15th August so that we can properly celebrate. But, sir, there was a committee set up by the cabinet, empowered committee, because they said that telecom is a technical subject, so its price determination should be done by 2 ministers. So one would be telecom, the other would be finance. And so the 2 of them met and had 4 meetings. And those meetings, the minutes have been maintained, so those minutes I produced. So that was one major breakthrough. But the court found it easier the Congress party was also willing at that time to fix Raja. but leave Chidambaram out. Chidambaram, we came close, but ultimately, the system was not ready for prosecuting because, his tentacles were quite large, and he had helped a lot of people in their foreign bank accounts, so they were all worried that he might, if he's sent to jail, speak up. So they protected him. Now the protection is gone, so we are very close to on a major matter where, as a foreign investment promotion board clearance, he's caught red-handed. So it should be possible to send him also. But on the 2G, this second major breakthrough was that the special assistant to Raja, a man called Asirvadam, one day he suddenly came to my house in the night and said, I want to speak to you. It's being a Tamil, he spoke to me in Tamil, so I thought maybe he's come from my native area or something. I took him inside. He told me that I'm finding it very difficult to sleep because what is going on and what has happened is so terrible that the country is going to really suffer for it. So I'd like to turn a prover. So I passed him on to the CBI. And his evidence, his knowledge of documents made the difference. And of course, poor chap was nearly killed, and so finally I had to move the Supreme Court and get him security because Mr. Chidambaram was not allowing him to get security. And he was a target. One of his sons, I think, was run over by a car. We don't know what else. Whether it was an accident or it was planned. But he stood firm. He stood all the cross-examinations. And let me tell you, fighting corruption is extremely hard because all crooks are represented by the topmost lawyers. And they get sums which are staggering. The CBI has one counsel, he himself sometimes, one counsel was bought actually. So we had to restart the whole trial again. I think the convictions are also due in the next 2-3 months. They are in the final stages of the special CBI court's proceedings. So these two were the minutes which clearly showed that they were hell-bent on, after knowing that many of these companies would sell it to foreigners, they fixed it in such a way that they got it. And the second one was the evidence on a day-to-day basis that Mr. Asirvadam gave to the CBI and the CBI court. Both these made it possible. And of course, this 2G will go on for still a long time because there are many more angles that have to come out. For example, I'll give you this Jet Etihad. Who's the owner of Jet Etihad? Huh? No, Jet is Naresh Goyal, but Etihad is the Amir of that place, Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, yeah. Is the Emirate. Who's the owner of Etisalat, the telecom company? The same man. I have submitted to the Supreme Court, I've challenged this deal. I've submitted to the Supreme Court a letter written by the Indian ambassador to the government of India that the Emir is very unhappy that he lost $1 billion because the Supreme Court of India cancelled the 2G spectrum licenses. Now, how $1 billion means what? 6,000 crores. Okay, but 6,000 crores is not what he paid. He paid much less. So where did the difference go? So why is he unhappy? So the ambassador says, in view of the fact that he is so unhappy with some highly placed politicians, now why should he be unhappy with highly placed politicians? He should be unhappy with the government of India. Therefore, we have to make amends, and hence we must give him free access to India, and the only way it can be done is through a deal with an Indian airline, and therefore Jet Etihad is something the government must go through. So we have allowed now Etihad to fly the frequency of flying is measured in number of seats per plane because the planes are of different size. So from 13,000 seats presently, of which they use only 8,000 seats per week, they have been given 90,000. And that means what? That the Emirates and Etihad will together take over the whole Indian market, and you will not be able to fly directly to America anymore. You will have to go to Dubai or you will have to go to Abu Dhabi. And they've been allowed to come to Bombay, take a flight to Chennai and Calcutta and pick up passengers and then take it. The argument given to me is that the Air India can also do that. But how can I fly from Abu Dhabi to Dubai? I can only go by bus. So they're so close to each other. So you can't call this reciprocal. So it's an absolutely sellout of our sky. It's like Spectrum. Spectrum also, it is absolutely was a sellout. Here is a sellout. So all these corrupt deals are all interconnected. And you have to have a very clean life to survive. Otherwise, I've been on a microscope for the last 40 years. And I've been a sadhu and sannyasi. So only once somebody asked me, how do you get paid for all the travel you do? So I said, I'm a Brahmin, I stick my hand out and people give me dakshina. So anyway, but you cannot do any illegal deals if you want to fight corruption. Because they are ruthless. They'll make up also. You just give them the button, they'll stitch the coat on it. See, that sort of thing. So therefore, I'm saying to you that these all are interconnected.
So salute to your boldness, but you never got afraid of being recorded like lively, being a station politician like.
Why should I be afraid?
Like people.
No, tell me what is the fear? It's a question is. No, then you don't. Then you are not a good Hindu. Your Lord Krishna says your life is fixed. Those who are born must die. Those who die must be reborn. So therefore, there have been all kinds of attempts. Recently, there was an attempt to. There was a warrant issued in my name by a magistrate in the border of Bangladesh, or the Indian side, and totally illegally. And they said they'll come and pick me up from my house. So I stayed in Delhi. People told me go to America, go hide in Madras, all that. So no, I'll wait in Delhi because I'll enjoy going. But then the Chief Minister of Assam got scared that my coming might polarize Hindu-Muslim communities, and therefore he might lose the election. So he stopped the police from going. And the Delhi police, obviously, because it's a BJP government, would not have cooperated. So I sat for 1 month and these fellows didn't come. So finally I went to Guwahati High Court and filed a case and I got a stay. Not a stay, I even got the proceedings suspended by the court. So you must have faith, you see. Otherwise, don't fight. So, sit at home and be a clerk.
Sir, we are talking about black money is lying in the foreign countries, but what about the black money circulating in our country itself? The government should not come up with some scheme?
No, there's no need for a scheme. What you do is, if you're going to abolish income tax and you're going to simplify your other taxation systems, I think, first of all, incentive to create black money in the future goes down. And after that, I'm pretty sure that it will be, they can have some scheme to convert all black money into white, but that will be at a later stage. But at the moment, the more important thing is that the incentive to create black money, that must be finished. That is the most important thing for within the country. People, why we have these stamp duties for and registration fees for property? There should be no registration fees. It should be a plain piece of paper notarized, that's all. Why should you have stamp paper? These are all, and what small amounts you get from it. I mean, this is all sadism that is responsible. The English, they've put into our brain this sadistic mentality, you see, how to catch people and keep them under control. So, simplify the system. Why is today property, black money taking place? Because you have a registration fee which is so high that it is much better to not declare the real value of the property and you take the money in blank. Once you say, no, there's no registration fee, automatically that black money will go. So these are the things that we must do first, and then later on we'll worry about. I certainly think that while some things can be done in one blow, but you've got to make sure that the whole, you have to take the whole picture into account so that we move in a space without crumbling and collapsing the system.
Sir, one last question. Sir, one last question.
Yeah.
Sir, you have been fighting the system for 40 years. I don't want to put a number to your age, but many people don't know in this audience that you are 75 plus years of age.
Yes, 75 plus. Yes.
So, what is the secret of your youthfulness and energy?
Long years ago, I was told that the people age because of tension in their body, their system. So I made it a point to give tension to other people. I think the best way to lead a happy life is to follow the message of Gita, which is that you have only freedom of action. You may work for a goal, you may work for a target, but the fruit of the action is not within your right. You will get the fruit, but Lord Krishna says, I will decide in what form, where, and how. So sometimes you may work very hard and get nothing, but then later on you may get a very good wife who looks after you. So you get compensated. So look at life as a balance, then you will never be unhappy. Huh?
Sir,
Saying a good wife is a myth. Is your wife attending this meeting? No.
sir, only one question.
But I have a wife.
Sir, Mike, what is the state of GST in the present scenario?
Yeah. I don't think the Congress is going to let it pass. And I think there's still some reworking needs to be done. Even the land bill, I don't like the idea of government buying land. It should be, if somebody wants to buy land, you can tell him that we have a list of people who want to sell land. You go talk to them, and if you want us to mediate, we'll mediate. So there are a lot of people in our own party who are not very happy with the land bill. So and finally, let me tell you, Parliament is a very important place, but is most important for two things. Getting information on what is going on, like questions and debates and so on. And the second thing is to pass legislation. But I will tell you that 80% of the government work has got nothing to do with Parliament. So law and order, what is there to do with Parliament? Anything, you run a country, you don't need Parliament except when you want to pass a law, or you want to tell the whole country or the members of Parliament so they can go and tell their constituency what is going on. So therefore, I wouldn't worry too much if Parliament is not functioning. So many crores are going. Even the media makes a big to-do about it. But the fact of the matter is that if I was in government in charge, I would have told them to go on shouting. We'll adjourn every day, and nothing will happen to this country. And because much of the work that needs to be done to run this country, you don't require Parliament.
Sir, finally one question on 370. What is your opinion? Article 370, sir.
My controller here is...
Sir, one last question is, would it be daydreaming or a ray of hope that one day Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi will pack their baggage, catch a flight and fly to Santa Cecilia?
No, that we are not going to allow.
I think we have to stop here for the all further question and answer session. Now, one more thing what we have left, the three MOCs, those who are from last 2 days here.